From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, June the 20th, 2022. Well, we open with some dramatic political news. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's coalition will submit a bill to voluntarily dissolve itself next week and call for new elections, likely sometime at the end of October, with Foreign Minister Yair Lapid to serve as interim prime minister until that point. Addressing the public this evening, Bennett called it a difficult moment, but the right decision for Israel. He said, "Last Friday, I had a series of conversations with judicial and security officials, and I finally understood that in 10 days, with the violation of the judicial court regulations, the state of Israel will enter security risks and constitutional chaos," referring there to the fact that temporary laws applying Israeli law to the settlements in the West Bank would expire at the end of the month. Bennett said he would stand by Lapid's side and do everything to make him succeed. Lapid, for his part, called for unity. He said, "Do not let the forces of darkness dismantle us from within. Remind ourselves that we love each other, love our country, and only together will we win." By the way, the change in Prime Minister is not expected to impact the visit next month of U.S. President Joe Biden to Israel, who will now presumably be welcomed by Lapid and not Bennett. A rocket was fired at southern Israel this weekend. Palestinian terrorists fired the projectile from Gaza towards the city of Ashkelon just after 3 a.m. Saturday morning, the first rocket launched at Israel from Gaza since April. The IDF tweeted the rocket was intercepted by the Iron Dome. No damage or injury was reported. In response, IDF aircraft struck a weapons manufacturing site and 3 other Hamas military posts in Gaza. Yesterday, sirens sounded in Jerusalem, and Eilat attributed to either a malfunction or a possible cyber attack. An investigation is ongoing. Bennett responded to the rocket attack in his weekly cabinet meeting yesterday, saying our goal is safety and quiet lives for the residents of the South, as well as preventing the renewed armament of Hamas. We will take strong action against any attempt to undermine this quiet. Bennett also spoke of the recent threats on Israeli tourists in places like Turkey. He said, "We are currently witnessing Iranian attempts to attack Israelis in various overseas locations. The security services of the State of Israel are working to thwart attempted attacks before they are launched." Again, warning Israelis not to fly to Turkey, especially Istanbul. The Times of Israel citing Bennett thanking Turkey, who thwarted a number of attempts, for its efforts and cooperation. Israel's National Security Council Director Eyal Hulata visited Amman, Jordan today, a diplomatic visit on behalf of Bennett. Hulata was reported to have met with senior Jordanian officials, his visit seen as a positive sign between the neighboring countries whose ties have been strained since the violence during Ramadan. Well, it was a very good weekend for Israeli gymnastics at the 2022 European Championships held in Tel Aviv this year. Israel's rhythmic gymnastics team took the gold in the group all-around category and the gold for 2022 all-around European champion, Israel's Daria Atamanov. Prime Minister Bennett congratulated the young athletes, writing, "Daria, you are a true champion. Teammates, you are champions. All Israel is proud of you." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, June the 20th at 7 o'clock. Joel Chasnoff travels to the eastern border of the Golan Heights to meet the soldiers protecting Israeli civilians and those cooperating with Jordan to protect holy assets for both countries. At 7:30, Lebanese-American Oualid Mouaness joins Eric Goldman to discuss his award-winning film 1982. Telling of one of the most cataclysmic moments in Lebanon's history. At 8, Shacharazani speaks with Corey Feldman about his book, A Line in the Sand, about his journey from being a 22-year-old American kid to a volunteer combat soldier in the IDF. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with lone IDF soldier Josh Warhit on L'chaim. At 10, David Gregory and Erica Brown discuss faith at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up next, Shahar Azani speaks with Arsen Ostrovsky about the UN Human Rights Council report condemning Israel for defending itself in the war with terror group Hamas in May of 2021. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, June the 20th, 2022. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.